I want to start with what is perhaps the biggest question that dominates modern New Testament scholarship about eschatology, and it's this. Was Jesus wrong about the end of the world? Was Jesus wrong in his prediction of the end of the world and the coming of the Son of Man? You might not know this, but in Jesus' eschatological discourse in Matthew 24 through 25, he gives a prophecy that many scripture scholars think went unfulfilled. And so many will often say in the modern period that Jesus was wrong. This is a big problem. You might not have encountered it before, but it's a big problem and has been for a lot of thinkers, a lot of theologians. For example, C.S. Lewis, a very wonderful, brilliant apologist. He was an Anglican. He never became Catholic, but he was really, really close. He actually called this verse I just read to you, quote, the most embarrassing verse in the Bible. Most embarrassing verse in the Bible, because to him it looked like Jesus was wrong. In this book, Albert Schweitzer argued that Jesus was, in fact, a failed, quote, apocalyptic fanatic. That he was a fanatic who thought that the end of the world was coming any time, and he predicted the date, but of course, the world kept going. Bertrand Russell, who was an atheist, actually wrote a book called Why I Am Not a Christian. And one of the main arguments in the book, Why Am I Not a Christian, is that he said basically he could not believe in the divinity of Jesus because of the two verses I just read to you. Because those two verses showed that Jesus was wrong about the end of the world, that he had predicted the end of the world, and it didn't happen. In light of that word, apocalypsis, the apocalypse of John, is Revelation simply a blueprint for the end of the world, which is how most people read it? Or has Revelation already been fulfilled? Is the majority of the book of Revelation already been fulfilled? And if so, when? Now, with that in mind, the question is, how do we read the book of Revelation then? Two major views of how to read Revelation. The first one is called the futurist view. The futurist view. Now, the futurist view is this, that the book of Revelation is a cryptic prediction of future events, and that these events will only take place at the end of time. A second view of the book of Revelation is known as the preterist view of Revelation. In the preterist view of Revelation, Revelation was a prediction that John made of imminent events that were to take place. These events were actually fulfilled, according to the preterist view, in the 1st century A.D. What is the rapture? The rapture is a secret snatching away or disappearance of Christians into heaven before the final tribulation that will take place at the end of time. Okay? That's what the rapture is. It's this idea that Christians will be snatched up, we will be taken away, we will disappear before the great tribulation begins. More Catholics I meet in these days have been exposed to this concept of the rapture. And in fact, for a lot of Catholics, this is the only thing they've really heard about the end times. So I feel like I have to do a little detox here, as I'm going to try to suggest to you and show to you tonight that the rapture is an unbiblical concept. It's an unbiblical tradition of men. It is a very recent idea, and it is not, by any stretch of the imagination, what the Catholic Church teaches about the end of time. When Jesus comes again, according to the rapturists, he will conquer the wicked Gentile nations, and he will establish a 1,000-year earthly kingdom centered in Jerusalem. In earthly Jerusalem, like the place where you can go today and get on a plane and fly there. That's where Jesus will come, and he's going to set up his kingdom. Now, I heard a lot of giggles as I'm going through this scenario, but is there any evidence to back it up? Could you refute it from Scripture as a Catholic? Does that sound like a rapture? No, now I don't hear the giggles, huh? Sounds a little like a rapture. Well, let's look at what Jesus says in Matthew 24. Maybe he described it too. He said, "So will be the coming of the Son of Man." Verse 39. This is the parousia, the second coming again. "Then 2 men will be in the field, one is taken and one is left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill. One is taken, one is left. Watch therefore, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. Therefore you must also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." Not so clear now, huh? Kind of sounds like the rapture. One taken, one left. Remember that? The 2 people in the car? One of you's driving, they go, the other one's left. Is that what Jesus is describing here? Don't these passages seem to support the rapture theory? Don't they seem to describe a secret rapture of Christians to heaven? Don't they mean that some Christians will be left behind? There have been several suggestions that have been made over the centuries. I want to familiarize you with a couple of them here. The first one that is very, very popular is this. The whore of Babylon is the Roman Catholic Church. How many of you have heard this before, that the whore of Babylon is the Roman Catholic Church? A few of you, yeah, a few of you. And I've had Catholics come to me and said, is the church the whore of Babylon? Is that true? What's going on here? Now, what are the reasons, though? Is it just bigotry? Is it just anti-Catholicism? Why would people suggest that the Catholic Church is the whore of Babylon? Well, let me give you some of the reasons. First of all, number one, Babylon, it is claimed by these interpreters, is a code name for Rome. It's a code name for Rome. And that is actually true. Second, notice the beast is on 7 hills, right? Where are these 7 hills? Well, they're in Rome. It's an ancient tradition that the city of Rome is situated on 7 hills. Also, it gets a little better. Purple and red, notice that's the color that the woman is dressed in. She's dressed in scarlet. And what colors does Catholic clergy wear, right? What's behind me, right? What color you see? The purple, right? Exactly. Why? Because it's Lent, right? So David Hunt and others argue, look, this is the imagery of the Catholic priesthood, right? Their liturgical colors. And then finally, notice, is this whore poor or is she wealthy? She's wealthy. She's bedecked in jewels. She has gold, Revelation 17:4. Clearly, this points to what? The wealth of the Catholic Church, right? Everybody knows the Vatican has quite a stash, right? Hidden under there. Yeah, it's the wealth of the church. Okay? Now, it's funny when you actually bring this up. The Vatican only got air conditioning like about 5 years ago, actually, But it is true they have a wealth of art, right? And there is gold there. So what is this? Could this be the Catholic Church? The more modern suggestion is that the whore of Babylon is the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire. And this one makes sense as well. What do you got? We already seen the connections with Rome and the 7 hills. So it's a very small step for modern scholars to take to say, well, wait, maybe it's not the Catholic Church, but maybe it's the Roman Empire itself. However, there is a little problem here. You'll notice that in both of those quotes, the scholars tend to turn the beast and the woman into a single figure. They tend to kind of blur into one. But as we'll see in a minute, they're distinct. So I'm going to suggest to you that while there's merit to the modern interpretation, it's incomplete and it's missing one key element. All right? Okay, so we've got 2 options on the board. We've got the Roman Catholic Church, and so I'm guessing most people here are Catholic. We're probably not going to go for that one, right? Most people, no, not going to go for that one. Okay, we'll see why in just a minute. Second one is the Roman Empire itself. And the third one is one you may not have heard before, but is the one that I'm going to suggest to you is correct, which is what teachers always do, right? They give you 3 options, and then the last one's the one they think is right, okay? So if you've ever wondered, what is the final judgment going to be like? And you probably wonder this more importantly, on what will I be judged, right? These are Jesus' words about the final judgment. What's the criterion for this final judgment? How will you be judged? Well, by whether you have done good or by whether you've done wickedness. Note this, Catholics, this is important. Many times Catholics are criticized for overemphasizing the importance of works in our salvation. But Jesus himself emphasizes the importance of our actions when he's talking about the final judgment. Many people highlight St. Paul's teaching that we're saved by faith and not works of the law. And if I had time, or if you buy my Roman CD set, we'll go into that about how works of the law applies to circumcision, not good deeds. But even Paul always frequently talks about the fact that you will be judged according to your works. According to your works. And Jesus agrees with Paul here. Or should I say Paul agrees with Jesus, right?